All right, so the next part of the lesson we're going to talk about the discriminant. So the question is asking, using the previous problems, what do you notice about the value under the radical and the solutions to the equation? So I'm going to pull my note sheet from our previous examples that we were working on. So if we look at, let's just say problem 1. So now I'm going to jump to this step right here. So we had, so from our problem 1, we had 5 plus minus the square root of 49 divided by 6, and our final answer was x equals 2 and then negative 1/3. Okay, so if I even go down to the third problem, okay, so again from this one, I'm going to jump to this step right here. So I'm going to write this and then what my answers were. So that was from our third problem. So we had negative 6 plus minus the square root of negative 20 divided by 4. And our final answers were x equals negative 3 plus minus I square root of 5 over 2. And the very fifth problem, so again jumping down to the discriminant, so negative 34 plus minus the square root of 0 over 2, and we ended up with x equals negative 17 for the answer. Okay, so those were all problems from the previous videos that we would have practiced solving by quadratic formula. Okay. So the question's asking us, what do we notice about the value under the radical and the solutions to the equation? So looking at this, we have positive underneath our radical, and we have 2 real answers. Okay, my next one, under my radical, it's a negative number. And when I'm looking, I'm going to have 2, and I know I have 2 because of the plus minus here. And I have an I, so that means that I have 2 imaginary answers. And if we look at our last one, underneath here we have 0, and I have 1 real answer. Now the number under our radical is called the discriminant. And really this is going to determine the number and type of solutions that we have. So if our discriminant is bigger than 0, that means that, so it's going to be a positive number. So let me put positive here. That means we will always have 2 real solutions. So remember, our solutions, when we're finding them, we're really finding the x-intercepts. So in terms of a graph, that means that our graph has to be crossing, whether it's opening up or down, it has to be crossing the x-axis twice. Okay, so we have 2 real solutions. Now, if our discriminant is less than 0, okay, so we have a negative underneath our radical. Well, anytime we have a negative inside the radical, we always get an imaginary number. So that means that we're going to have 2 complex or imaginary solutions. So again, in terms of our graph, since they're imaginary, that means that it can't be crossing the x-axis. So it's going to look something like this. And if our discriminant is equal to 0, okay, so it is 0, we're going to have 1 real answer. So if we only have 1 real answer, that means that the vertex of our graph is sitting right on the x-axis. So it's going to look something like that. So if we take a look at the last set of problems, it is asking us to determine the value of the discriminant, then describe the number and type of roots for the equation. So for this, we only care about the b squared minus 4ac. So again, it's ABC. So I'm going to take the opposite of B, so negative 6 minus 4, I was doing no problem. So we just care about B squared minus 4AC. So 6 squared is 36 minus 4 times 1 times 8. So again, we're just going to simplify that. So I'm just going to type that right into my calculator. So 36 minus 4 times 1 times 8 is 4. So my discriminant is 4, and that means that we are going to have, so I'm going to put 4 comma, and then 2 real answers since it's positive. Okay, so looking at the next one, again, we care about the B squared minus 4AC, so again, our discriminant. So first number is A, second number is B, last number is C. So 6 squared will be 36 minus 4 times 1 times 9. So negative 4 times 9 is 36. So this is 36 minus 36, which will give us 0. So since we have 0 for our discriminant, that means that we're going to have one real answer or solution. Okay, so again, the last one, we care about that B squared minus 4AC. So 6 squared is 36 minus 4 times 1 times 10. So that's going to be 36 minus 40, so that will be negative 4. So since it's a negative, remember we're taking the square root of this number. That means that we're going to have 2 complex answers, or imaginary answers. And that is going to conclude section 6.